Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to the season special of the Between Two Roses, the Crown Between Two Roses. We've decided this episode that we're going to have a little bit of fun with the hosts and the lovely roses of our kingdom who have nicely volunteered to interview other people. We're now going to be interviewed ourselves. So to start the procedures, I am Countess Lilia bint Tazir.
And I'm Countess Beatrice, and please be patient while we do the acknowledgement of the country. Good nobles, we come here together in the spirit of fellowship, deepening of our skills, sharing of our knowledge, and a shared interest in the search to find truth through experimental archaeology and historical inquiry. It is in this context that I, Countess Beatrice Maria Malatesta, on behalf of my kingdom, acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands upon which we gather. We recognise their continuing connection to land and culture, and we pay our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging, and elders from other communities who may be here today.
Yay!
So now we have our other lovely roses who have joined us over the last couple of months. Introduce themselves.
I'm Dr. Sultani. Welcome, and I hope you have a lovely festive season.
I'm Countess Catalina.
I am Sir Eva von Danzig, Duchess of Lochac, and happy holidays to everyone watching at home.
And you may see that we have a new face amongst our roses who may be hotter than your mum, according to his tagline. But we do welcome Master Vandal, who will be our exciting host for tonight and asking us all of those random questions that you have put forward to us.
Exciting's a big call.
It's always exciting with you, Vandal.
Keep us on our toes, I'm sure you will.
So is anyone going to volunteer for first question?
I will.
Okay. Oh, picking for you. Oh. That's mean. I should start with a generic one. We'll get to the slightly risque ones. In the spirit of the holiday photo, what is your favorite treat that you only eat or drink during the holidays?
During the holidays around this time of the year, eggnog would be one of them because you can only get it in supermarkets around this time of year.
You know you can eat it, right?
And eat a bit partial to a trifle every now and then. Not on my own sitting, but shared. So.
That's a good one for all of you. You can work out who's going in what order. What was the best or worst advice you have heard at a vigil? And don't say, don't eat the yellow snow. We've all heard that too many times.
Damn it, you took it.
Everyone's heard it too many times.
That would be all of our bad advice.
That's why I've stolen. So now, best or worst advice, Countess Beatrice?
Oh my goodness. Remember that there are many other people beyond you that you have been that you be recognized. You're being recognized for this achievement. Yeah. And to always keep a lookout for others.
Okay. Sir Eva.
I'm not going to say worst because
you don't have to. I said or, either or. Eva?
I've got almost a twofer. So in my nighting vigil, I was sitting vigil overnight and accepting guests during the vigil to come and bestow me with wisdom. Because my knight and I had a long distance squire knight relationship, I asked him to sit vigil with me. So he was actually there with me the whole time. And Sir Rufus came in a little bit drunk. And he started by saying, "What is franchise?" I don't know. What is it? McDonald's. But the funny thing is that after he'd left, Mark turned to me and he goes, it's facetious, but he's not wrong. And here's why. Franchise is one of those things that's not very widely understood, especially coming into learning about chivalry, because franchise isn't how you sell yourself. It's embodying the role that you are supposed to, or that you've accepted. So, you know, when you see a McDonald's sign, you know what you're going to get. So when you look at a knight wearing the chain, the spurs, and the white belt, you know what you're going to get. And the expectation is that you will uphold that level of franchise. So that was almost like the worst and best advice all in one.
Nice. Catalina, do you have an answer?
Oh, I think the best advice would be to remember that you will have to deal with these people outside of your whatever role you may be taking on, and which is kind of the counter to the worst advice, which is, hey, now you can get back at all those people. Just to remember that sometimes it isn't about you, it's about the role, and you have to embody the what it is that you're taking on, whether or not it's something that I don't know. I'm trying to speak English, but apparently I'm failing.
It's been a long day.
It has been a long day. I've been sick, but yes. Don't forget that it's not always about you, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Altani, do you have an answer?
It's very similar to Beatrice and Catalina. Would be, it is not about you. It is about what you can provide, what you can support, and how you can encourage others around you and grow your kingdom into what you would like it to be. Yeah, I think it's looking beyond yourself now with those roles.
Yes.
Fair enough. I have one specifically for Duchess Altani, actually. Why do birds suddenly appear every time you are near?
Oh.
Sorry.
I also haven't been given the list of who asked these questions, so
Think about who would have asked that question.
I can think of like 4 people.
One very close in this household. Wow. Why do birds suddenly appear every time you are near? Well, just like me, they long to be close to you.
Nice. Eva, what is your favorite background noise / media when working on ANS type projects?
That's funny because I asked that question.
Well, then I won't ask you, Beatrice.
I actually wanted to know everybody, so I can start if you want, because I probably have the worst one, is that I actually really enjoy listening to podcasts on true crime and horror, and I listen to that in the background while I'm doing a lot of things, or like I like watching horror movies. So every time I make something really pretty, there's a lot of grotesque things that I've enjoyed in the background as they get made.
Perfect.
But I want to know everybody else's, because we all make a lot of things.
Lil, do you have an answer?
For me, I it's so cliche. I actually watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer when I have a big project, because there's so many seasons of it that I just kind of like go, yep, okay, and it kind of keeps the lighthearted mood going on. When it comes to music, I've got very eclectic taste. So at the moment, one of the things I'm actually listening to is Depeche Mode, which is like so 90s, it's not funny.
All right, Catalina?
Well, you know, I'm going to sound a bit boring, but I tend to have a good old Jane Austen or other period piece playing on the television in the background, or sometimes, alternatively, I listen to 80s hair bands.
Nice.
Because I'm showing my age.
It's a good mental image, though. Altani, do you have an answer?
If I was to watch something in hand sewing, it's generally something like along the lines of the BBC production of Pride and Prejudice. So again, Jane Austen. Definitely the Lord of the Rings cycle and the Hobbit. So, and even Conan, the original Conan. And maybe Red Sonja might get in there.
Yes.
Sort of period dramas, well.
Don't say Red Sonja is a period drama, because that's just going to open a whole load of people wearing really bad garb.
It'd be interesting. Very interesting to see that. Music-wise, I listen to a lot of orchestral scores. There's things like Star Trek, Star Wars, that side of the epic scores. Can't remember the name of the band. Two Steps from Hell, things like that. But it's generally, and occasionally the Celtic side of things gets thrown in as well. So that's where I go. And then yelling at the children saying, get off the fabric and go away. I'm trying to pin this up. Yeah, all of that.
Beatrice?
I watch a lot of movies and they're very eclectic. So it could be musicals or The Fifth Element or things that I've seen over again, or TV shows like The Big Bang Theory, or Friends, or How I Met Your Mother. They're the big ones. Music, I like a lot of punk and metal. So, but I do have an eclectic taste, because occasionally there'll be some country music thrown in there, or some jazz, or soul, or it depends on the mood, and it does depend what I'm making.
Fair enough. More serious question, and I suppose we should go through all of you. What advice would you give to a consort of a fighter entering a crown tournament? And considering there's one very, very close, now would be a good time to give that random advice. Altani.
Thanks. Don't panic. I think we've all been there of don't panic, but we're panicking inside. Seriously? Take a deep breath. It's a wild ride. It will have its ups and downs, but it is a fabulous way to see and to meet the people of this great kingdom.
That's a pretty good answer. Catalina.
Gosh, I was so new when it happened to me. I'm trying to remember the advice that I got, but the advice that I tend to give is to remember that you only have to do your best. People will forgive you for things that you may get wrong if you are coming from a good place. From a place of heart and a solid mind with the interests of the kingdom. Once you step down, though, you have to live with every action you've taken for the rest of your time in the SCA. So it's important to have a great time, but also to remember that it is a great responsibility. And you can have fun and carry the gravity of that at the same time.
All right, Lil.
Going into a crown tournament, my advice would be, don't believe him if he says he's just entering for fun. That's a load of codswallop. I'd say the two pieces that I would give to the consort themselves is, don't be afraid to question your fighter on his behavior, because it's better to leave a tournament field having lost than to have lost your honor on the tournament field. And no matter whether you think you're going to win or not, have some vague plan of what you might do if you win, even if it's we should get that person to help us run the royal household, because when it happens, your brain just goes, oh shit, and blank for the first couple of days.
Yeah.
All right, Eva.
So I have to definitely echo what Lil said. Part of the consort's role is to be there to help to protect the renown of their fighter. You know, you're the only person that's going to be close enough to your fighter to actually pull them up afterwards and go, just so you know, that didn't look okay. And that helps. It can be a difficult conversation, but it's one that's very important, because the sanctity of the list is important. And at the end of the day, it's the coin that we play with in the society is our renown and our reputation. And people do watch and they do judge. So it's important to try and preserve the sanctity of that list and the sanctity of the fight. And the piece of advice I would give if you were victorious on the day is to remember that being crowned is to be the first servant of the kingdom. So I know that was one of the pieces of vigil advice mentioned for, is it's not about you. It's not just that it's not about you. It's that you're accepting the role of becoming the number one servant to the kingdom. That means that you have the opportunity to protect and uphold the traditions of the kingdom and to make the special moments. And that is extremely rewarding, but it is heavy, and you have to remember that is what you are doing. You're not there for yourself anymore. You have a couple thousand people who rely on you to uphold that job, to do that job. And that's what you've signed up for 6 months or more, depending on COVID.
Yeah, that I'm sure. Yeah, they might agree strongly with you on that one.
Thank you, Your Majesties, for upholding your job for well over your durated time.
Does anyone know off the top of the head where we're up to? Is it like
we're up to Beatrice?
No, I mean on their current reign, it's over 12 months, isn't it?
It will be 12 months at 12th night.
They're ready for a step down.
They have earned a rest.
Yes.
But Beatrice, your turn to answer.
Again, I would echo Will and Eva, and having seen a consort walk out onto the field and pull up their fighter in the middle of a list is quite empowering, really, because you do have that opportunity. They are representing you. They are representing themselves, because ultimately, if you are victorious, you are representing the kingdom and being the crown. So yeah, it's definitely quite an important role that the consort has. I had a very interesting role as consort, and I would say believe in your consort, because that was a bit of an ongoing joke for mine. But ultimately, as a consort going into a list, if you're at the 20, make the most of every fight, make the most of every moment, and enjoy it, and learn from every experience, and have those conversations, because it's definitely it sounds weird, but it's an elite and exclusive club, the winners of our crown tourneys, but absolutely amazing to just be a part of that list.
Work. So okay, a sort of a follow-up question to that. You've just won crown. You've had that oh my god moment. What do I do now? Who is the first name you think of for I need a head of house or a guards member? Who's the one person that jumps out in your head that says I need them to be with us through this?
Mine was Macca.
That's
Macca was my
Andreas for
champion.
everyone in the kingdom.
Yeah, that he was my champion. He was absolutely that first. I knew.
Answer. Catalina?
We had already had a discussion about who we would have in our household, and who we would ask in terms of the major roles. So it was a bit easier for me, which was good because I'd been around for about 5 hot minutes. But
Very hot.
I did rather feel on fire for a while. But there are people in any kingdom you go to, I think, who you look at and you think, yes, these are the people that I aspire to be like, and these are the people who I want my kingdom to see and to emulate. So yes, I had a lot of people. I'm not going to give you a particular name because it's been 19 years. So I'll probably give the wrong one.
You can always do it again.
Oh, I don't know. I'm a bit old for that now, I think.
Never too old.
Never too old.
Altani?
The two people, well, at least when we reigned as crown, and at least one of those people when we reigned as P&P so many years ago, is Jarl Alpha, and more recently, Jean-Christophe Le Saucier. They have both been yes, they have both been such steadfast friends and advisors to both King Girai and I. I couldn't imagine my guard, my household, without having either of those gentlemen in our house.
Lil?
Oh, I think I was very unprepared. So the reign that I had, I chose people that I trusted, that if I fucked up, they would pick me up and make sure that I looked and behaved the part. Like, there's I'm unbelievably shy in real life, believe it or not. So there's that moment of you need somebody to be your buffer. Nowadays, I don't know. I think I'd probably choose somebody who I know has the capability to be diplomatic as well as fair, to be the third party in the royal consortship, because it is, you're like the head of your household is the third person. It makes it sound like we're swingers, but we're not, right? But they need to be able to advise you on emails and remind you of the stuff that you forget because you're so engaged in what you're trying to do for the populace. So I would have to have a good think about it. I haven't played very well for a while, so I can't choose Maca because Maca is actually my consort. So, but it would be fun.
Maca.
Yeah, can't choose Maca.
I will point out, Lil, that he was the one at your step up when they were calling forth the guard, and we were sitting around a table, and they announced this person, that person, this person, please come forward, and they announced Andreas Reinhardt, and he was sitting there talking to us, and and we're all looking at him going.
Yeah, because he didn't.
There was a long pause, and he went, "Oh, that's me." Eva.
So Mistress Ingrid Rizka was our chamberlain in our first reign, and she was amazing. And especially being from Indelgard, I think it's important to have people that live near you, closest to you when it comes to doing the hard work. And she was absolutely amazing. Certainly if she was playing a little bit more in the time that when we win again, I would certainly love for her to do that job again. She also, because she had been princess previously, she helped us to keep in line with a lot of like the older traditions from the principality. That was really cool. And I would say Sir Oz was an amazing champion, and I would definitely want him back on guard again, hopefully as like a Sovereign's Mead guard for me next time. That's what I'm hoping for. But he was absolutely outstanding and went above and beyond everything that I had asked for, and certainly he ran an amazing path for me. That's probably one of my most treasured memories. So I definitely would want him involved on a guard again.
Nice. And he's cute.
Lovable.
Lil, we'll start with you. What was the strangest or funniest thing you received as a gift as Queen?
The strangest. We got home from New Zealand and my housemates had scattered rose petals and plastic crowns all through our bed. And for about 3 days, Brian was picking them out of things. That would have to be the strangest, because if you knew my boy, he was very stoic. So like glittery crowns like in his underwear, not something he was comfortable with. But that would have to be the strangest. The best, it was anything that was heartfelt. I think it doesn't have to be largesse particularly personal to the royalty, but if it's something that you can pass on and it makes somebody else's SCA experience better, then that's a good thing. Like fabric's amazing. Like, don't get me wrong, I love my fabric, but things that have a personal note to somebody who may never have had an award before, that you've gifted them because somebody's nicely gifted it to you, that's the ultimate largesse, I think. So
Beatrice?
What was the question again? I have too much
Strangest or funniest thing you were given while Queen as a gift?
Oh God. So I had, prior to the rain, Lil and I had gone bead shopping. I picked up this string of octopus beads. So that ended up on a lot of my garb. And if I strung an award for octopus, strung an award, then these little octopus beads would be on there. And then I ended up making octopus braids to wear under my garb. So I got a few octopus items as a result of that. Until Jib stepped up, so that was awesome because Jib then got all of that stuff. But I did get some octopus silicone egg cups as a gift. Yeah.
Did they suction onto
Thank you,
the,
Wolfgar.
or they suction up?
No. It's an egg cup with like 8 legs.
Right. Thank you.
Altani?
And they're hot pink.
Altani, what was yours?
I don't know. I like some of the gifts sometimes are relevant to the rain that you do, and some are not so much. And there are others that you definitely can pass on to others as gifts, which I think is really important. It's not, as Lil said, it's not about you at that point. It's about what you can do for others. They're the people that you need to support and need to encourage. I can't really label any particular gift. We've been given some great ones and some curious ones, but yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
Catalina?
I back in the ancient times when I rode my dinosaur to events when I was queen, there was we often received baskets at every event, pretty much. So yeah, I had several hundred baskets and candles that I have to be honest with you, I am just now getting through. I reigned in 2001 and 2002. And don't get me wrong, everyone that was given to me as a largesse, I did pass on. Just got a lot of candles, which I love. I think probably the best gifts were not things. In Caid, when I was queen in Caid, and New Zealand was part of Caid, every reign there's an event called the Festival of the Rose, and it's an event that is strictly for the queen. It's an arts and sciences based event, and there are different kinds of competitions and things. And I received a lot of beautiful stories and poems couple of songs. And those are the things I think that I still hold closest in my heart. They're not things I can look at. And I did receive some beautiful things that I still have, but that people shared their inner landscape with me through their words, and their music was really special.
That leaves you, Eva.
I can't take credit for this, but Felix just came out and was like, best gift, airs.
Yes.
So that's true.
Amen.
I will be honest, some of the best things I got were material objects. I can't help it. Baroness Lillian from Mordenvale made me this beautiful, very realistic chocolate squirrel for my step down on our first reign, and it was gorgeous. It was so gorgeous that I don't think I actually cracked it open to eat it until like months and months and months later, when it probably wasn't at its best, but it was just gorgeous. I kept it for so long. And then in our last reign, Sir Sebastian offered to make ciphers for us, and I was going to pay him, and then when he finally delivered them, he said, don't worry, it's a gift. So they're beautiful coins. And you know, to be honest, reigning in our kingdom is absorbently expensive. So even the gesture of you know, taking that burden off of our shoulders was immense, but the work and craftsmanship in them was so beautiful that I was just blown away with his generosity.
Very nice.
So Vandal,
Yeah.
tell us about the story of the largesse at Penzic that you ended up in your suitcase coming home with.
It wasn't my suitcase.
It was the largest that you gave to others.
Asa was queen at the time at Penzic, and she went to the queen's. Is it a tea at Penzic that all the queens get together? And they all got together, and she came back with a bit of a box in her hands with a bit of a strange look on her face going, I got these. I don't know what to do with them. And she told the story that everyone in the circle was handed one of these boxes, and the most polite, demure, nice, respectable queen that wouldn't say boo or think a dirty thought possible opened her box and picked up a statue, and there's two statues in the box, and apparently they're period in design, and one is a male and one is a female, and they're wearing a hood, and it's just a statue of a person in a hood, nice thing with some feet at the bottom, and she picked it up holding it to her face so she could see the front of it, and she was looking at the statue of a person going, what do I do with this? But everyone behind could see what it looked like. And it wasn't the most appropriate of statues, but apparently it's a period design. Hang on one.
And now he's building the suspense.
Life with children. I know.
And she wasn't sure what to do with these lovely, obvious statues. But there was a large group of us at Penzic that year, including Sir Lochac and not yet Sir Somerled, but Somerled was there. And I happened to notice there was a large roll of alfoil in the kitchen tent. So I said, I'll take care of those. And I very carefully wrapped them very tightly in alfoil. And when it was time to pack up, I snuck them into the hand luggage to go through the x-rays at the airport.
Oh, you are so wicked.
I have heard that they were period salt and pepper shakers.
Ah.
Very tall, thin, with a bit of a hood on the top. Yes, salt and pepper shakers.
Thank you.
Bit of a hood.
Yeah.
Bit of a hood. Yes, yes.
So I'm very grateful I never got anything like that.
Yes, yes. I can attest that both of the wives of those two gentlemen opened their luggage and went, what?
I do believe it took a few days for Somerled to get some of his luggage after that.
Yes.
Oops. Now, in a possibly unknown thing to most of the kingdom, and it might be unknown to Catalina because different kingdom when she reigned. But there is a book that is handed to the You're About to Be Queens that has information and notes from former queens. And I don't know whether I've meant to have read that book, but it ended up in my lap at some point, and of course I read it. And there was a beautiful note from Guthrin that was the most blunt and honest note I read in the book, and I thought that was the best advice possible. So without revealing what that was, let's see if any of you come up with it. What was the best piece of advice you found in the Queen's book?
Which one of us do you want to start?
Altani?
That's it. Feels like a long time since I've read that. Did I read it thoroughly? Maybe not. To be honest.
I remember what I wrote in it. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I know there was amazing advice, but I don't remember much beyond that.
All
Go
right.
to
How
the
about,
bathroom
one of the
before going
things
to
that-
court.
sorry?
That's
Go to the bathroom before going to court.
Guthrin's note was,
Yes.
no matter how long they say it'll be, if they promise you it's only 5 minutes, go to the toilet before court.
Tea break. Always. Eva, you were about to say something.
Oh, just one of the truer points that I read was that your second reign is usually easier than the first, and that did hold true for me at least, because you simply you know what's coming. I think no matter how prepared you feel before reigning for the first time, there's always going to be something that sort of blindsides you a little bit. So that was definitely something that going into it the second time you're prepared for. So it's not even that you learn anything from the experience. I know many people do, but even if you don't, the second time is going to be easier because you expect the worst. And then if it doesn't happen, it's a plus, right? So
Yeah, I would. So we constantly now say to England that they are not allowed to reign again because this is their second reign of plague.
that'll be the end times, right? For sure. They'll just finish us off with the third reign.
They're really,
No more.
really
Never
trying
again.
to get
No.
Valhalla to happen.
Well, she could hang on. If she wins the next crown, that might be different.
True.
Not
Yeah.
instead of the other.
If she wins, it'll break the cycle. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah.
So England, I hope you're watching.
No pressure.
Chris, do it for us. No pressure.
All right, another interesting one. It's your step up, the last step up you're at. You're about to process in, and suddenly out of nowhere, ninjas abduct the crown you're meant to reign with. And in an interesting move, the Kingdom Seneschal says, oh, well, they're gone. Pick one of the former crowns and you get to reign with them. Who do you choose and why?
Oh, shit.
The crown or the crown as
The-
in the person?
You can pick any former crown before your reign.
Right, the people.
You get to choose
Person.
one of them to reign with by your side because your consort at the time was abducted by ninjas, which are totally period. Sure.
I think Altani should go first.
Oh,
Altani?
mm.
Can I ask, is it sovereigns only, or can we choose other crown consorts?
Has to be someone that's reigned in Lochac. So,
So
Catalina, you can
consort-
pick anyone from Lochac's former royalty.
Oh,
Sovereign consort.
Fine. Stanzi.
Danzy? Oh, okay.
Oh,
And why?
nice.
I think she is a wonderful queen and she's a wonderful bastion of knowledge and gumph and everything. I admire her immensely. And I think she just makes it.
Good
For me.
call.
That's for me.
All right, Lilia.
Berenger.
And why?
I reckon that would be the most hilarious, inappropriate reign under the sun. And if you're going to go out in a blaze of glory, you do it with somebody who'd like hold your hand and skip through the tulips with you.
nice.
Eva.
Duke Edward, because he's so dashing.
Oh, sweet.
Nice.
Catalina?
Oh, see, I would have gone Stanzi myself.
You can go with
But she would have been my first, but I'll pick somebody different, and I think I'd go with Yolande.
Okay.
Oh, yeah,
She,
that would be awesome.
she's got she has a sweetness, but also a strength of backbone. You know, she's got this strength of character, and that I admire.
She also has an army of children willing to kill for her.
Yes, yes.
I've never seen any other queen stand at the top of the hill with an army of children chanting, "You're all old and fat" at the Knights meeting.
And she can get away with it. And see, this is why I choose her.
As a knight, I can attest that's a really terrifying army. I would rather fight like 20 Berengars than that army of children.
Yeah. They're ruthless, yeah.
Beatrice?
I'm going to say Alpha. We have this really weird relationship where we're honest with each other, but just give each other so much shit. And I think there's so much that could be played out on with that. And, you know, I have high respect for that guy, as much of a joke as he can be. Love you, Alpha.
Yeah, cool. All right, on a more serious note, what brought good tears to your eyes during your reign?
Okay. I'll go first with this one because
Sure.
I can actually go first on this one. I was known as the crying queen because I cried all the time, and I cried happy tears. There was no moment when somebody wasn't moved by coming up to get an AOA or giving a gift where I did not get teary-eyed, but they were genuine tears. But every experience was so moving for me. You know, seeing these people, and in Qaid, the crowns are inscribed with you. You rule because they believe. And every time you're sitting on the throne and you're in court, and somebody comes up to you and gives you something or says something, or it's just quite beautiful because we're this game becomes real. So. Yeah, I can't give a specific. I can just say that it was all really lovely. And yes, I was known as the crying queen.
Very cute.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but you know, that's how it was.
Lil?
Oh, I think the first time that the peers of the kingdom kneel before you, I welled up because there's just a moment where you feel the gravity of their belief and their true standing in the kingdom, and they're all focused on you. And there's that moment where you go, I don't know if I'm worthy for this. And it kind of shakes you. So I definitely welled up then. My first peerage, giving out my first peerage, he was lovely. Master William over in New Zealand. Wolfram swearing fealty to me on his knees in German, that just knocked me out. I just wanted to bend down and hug him. Loxmon kneeling in a puddle so that he was the right size to meet me eye to eye. That made me tears of laughter because I was like, oh my God, like, you're this ultimate legend. Please don't kneel in a puddle. And he was like, no, it's good. I can see you now. But yeah, I think there's definitely different kinds of tears, and they would be the ones that I remember the most. So
Nice. Eva?
So definitely the instance that springs to mind is being able to give away the war cloak at the last Rowaney festival that was held. For some background, the newer tradition of the war cloak given at Rowaney festival was sort of the brainchild of myself, and when I was Baroness of Inelgard, alongside Sir Throlf and Countess Hala, who were from Antir, and Felix and Yevon also thought it was a good idea, and we got together. And so the first cloak that was made came from Inelgard, and there was a small team of people, including Mistress Ingrid and Mistress Finnevar and myself, who put it together. And it's one of those things that you come up with an idea that means a great deal, because you just have this very grand idea of the sentiment, because that for people who haven't experienced warfare, you know, there's a lot to putting your body on the line, because every single person that attends a war is accentuating the experience of every other person on the field, no matter what. And there are some people who do almost surpass their mortal bodies to become, you know, a heroic warrior. And then there's also the people that spend, you know, 90% of their year just thinking about how to get more people on the war field with them. And so it was a tradition that we sort of stole from Antir and the West Antir War. And so thinking about all that meant, and seeing it for a few years go out, it was just a completely amazing experience to be able to give one away. And so we chose to give ours to Sir Bain, who, I don't know if people know this, but he put so much thought and effort into getting more people on the war field. He's fostered St. Florian, he's fostered Montbar, he does so much to accentuate everyone else's experience in war, and then also as a demon on the field himself. And I said to Felix, because people were giving suggestions, and I've turned to Felix and I'm like, I'm going to start crying when we give this thing away, because it means so much to me to have the opportunity to recognize him. And he's like, it's fine, just you do what you need to do. And of course, we're wrapping up. It's the final court of Rowaney Festival, and I started crying before we announced it. I had like a squeaky, like, Sir Bain, like, it was, and I was like, you know, I think the people that have experienced war will understand that it can be quite moving, but everybody else just probably didn't understand what was happening, because I'm literally bawling while we're giving the cloak away. But that's mine.
Nice.
I was even head
Beatrice.
of court, and so I absolutely feel for her in that space.
You have an answer, Beatrice?
I do. I actually have two. So overseeing the Crown tourney is one of the privileges of the Crown, and knowing that you have heirs is a little bit of a joyous occasion. And so there were a few, oh my God, yay, we have heirs, but actually handing over the crown, handing over the kingdom, in that final court, giving out all of my awards, giving out all of my ciphers, and then actually handing over the kingdom to Felix and Eva for their first reign was a hugely emotional moment, because I'll be honest, before that reign, I didn't know them. Henri knew them, and so we stayed with them for our coronation, and then I got to know them quite well throughout the 2 months as they were Crown Prince and Princess, and they're definite absolute friends, amazing people. And to know that the crown has been passed over and will be in safekeeping in their hands was just amazing.
Oh, love you, B.
Love
That's
you
good
too.
that you were at ease, because we were 23 and heaps of people were trying to give us a lot of advice because they were afraid that we couldn't do it.
Handing it over to people that you know you can, that you trust, and who you know will give everything they have to your kingdom is an amazing feeling.
It really is. I
It
think
makes it so much easier to step down and step away.
Yeah, and I think that's as you know, even as consorts, you're giving away your baby. This was actually a part of the advice that Lil gave to me. You're giving away your baby to the care of somebody else, and you just, you know, it really is. And I still feel like proud mama. And I know one of the other countesses, Elizabeth, that comes up and goes, I was your grandma.
Yes.
So, and that's an absolute bond that we definitely have as roses.
Nice. That leaves you, Al, Tony.
Tears of joy. It is when you go passing out awards to those who have been overlooked for so many years. I've had a few of those, and I do get choked up occasionally when I talk about them when we were reigning. I've also had tears of terror. Before, in our first reign, I had to do an awful announcement, and King Geardai was not there. It was just me at that time, and I was just utterly terrified, to be honest. And Mistress Rowan was there and supported me through before we had court. So there's good and bad times, good and bad tears. I think we all have those moments, and they're to be expected too, as consorts or as crown. And even tears with our partners who we reign with. If they're not listening to us, or vice versa, you butt heads. But then there are tears of joy as well. And one of the most memorable ones is when a certain young count asked a lovely young countess to marry him.
Oh, yeah.
There have been a few questions where, best thing during your reign, and she didn't bring that up at all. And I was like,
honestly,
no offense, Felix.
Wonderful. It was an utterly superb moment, about to crown them crown prince and princess. And this question came out, which was delightful. It's been one of the best moments in my life as crown, and it's in this kingdom.
Good thing she said yes.
Thank you for doing that in our court.
Good job,
Felix.
All right. Next question. I've been on 7 different royal household guards, and in pretty much every single one apart from one, either the king or queen pulled the guard aside at some point and said, if I make this motion, whatever the motion was, it means get me out of here or help me. Or in one queen's case, it was, if I make this motion, do not give him any more alcohol. Did you have, as crown, did you have secret hand gestures for your household or guard? Beatrice.
I did. I don't know if I want to give it away, just in case.
You don't have to give the hand gesture away. You're just fessing up here. You're admitting things.
Yes, yeah, I did. I will be honest and say I didn't use it very often, but when I did, it was an absolute I need to get out of their situation. The unfortunate thing was when I did, my guard didn't notice it, so I was stuck there for a while. Thank you, Spring War and alcohol.
Good work, guard. Awesome guard.
I know, right? Thank you, Macca. I love you.
Yeah, they're fired. Lil?
Yes, we did. And I can tell you what mine was, because it's probably never going to happen again, not for a long time. We were told we had to, as royalty, have some kind of gesture. When Bron was told he had to choose one, he went, I'm old enough and ugly enough that I can just walk out of a conversation if I'm not, so I don't need one. You might need one. And okay, so I had watched a documentary about monkeys. Right? And monkeys, when they're fearful, show all their teeth, right? As in big ass cheesy, like So that was mine, and it worked probably 90% of the time, except for that like 10% when everybody was too drunk to register I wasn't smiling and I was actually going monkey fear face, right? So occasionally when that happened, you would do monkey fear face and your guards would turn around and just do it back to you because they were like, yeah, we're fun. I was like, oh my God.
Oh my God, Lilia, do you know the old toy toy monkeys that you would wind up and they would clap their cymbals together and then they would go. That's
Oh
all
my
I can
God.
think of.
So that could be your next one. If you ever rain again, you just stand there and do this.
I will fess up.
Heel clap.
I'll completely own up. In the six rains where I was on guard and we had hand signals, there were moments in all of them where you'd see the person giving the hand signal and you'd like lean to the other guard's member and go, how long do you think we can punish them and make them stay there before we save them?
Oh my God, yes. I
Yeah.
have been there.
It's, oh, they're talking to so-and-so. This will be interesting. Altani, did you have secret hand gestures?
I think we did, but most of the time I forgot about them. And it was generally just a gentle, darling, gentle nudge on the arm.
Slowly squeezing tighter and tighter on his arm. Catalina, did you have one?
I did. Mostly because I'm very introverted and I find sustained conversation with people I don't know to be somewhat challenging, but this was mine. When I felt overwhelmed, I just kind of grabbed my throat. I can't breathe. I would do this.
Oh my God.
It worked pretty well. Yeah, but now of course I've given it away and in my mind, like anybody's going to remember 19 years ago. I don't want anyone to go, I remember she used to do that.
They won't remember that at all.
I know, because it's really not about me, but still, I'm
just pretty sure there's a bunch of people going, is that why Lil kept going?
Yeah.
Ironically, that was actually Brans. Brans was this or this.
Is that subtle? Someone's looking him in the face, talking to him, and he's like,
Yeah. I think I saw him do it once.
Yeah. I mean, the problem is that I kind of do this naturally anyway sometimes. So the guards would come up and I'd be like, no, I'm okay.
Eva?
I did. It was the same for both rains, but now that I'm giving you my essentially social PIN number, I'm going to have to change it if I ever do it right. But
You don't have to tell us what it
I
is.
turned my earrings, which looks awkward anyway, but I'll tell you a funny thing is that I only had to use it once per rain and it didn't work either time because in the first rain, I won't give too many specifics, but I had to kind of be saved because someone was just kind of taking up a lot of time and I was stuck in place watching a tournament I had to be at. And my lady in waiting very politely saw the signal and went, hey, Her Majesty really needs to watch this tournament. Can we maybe do this another time? And the person went off at my lady in waiting. So I actually just went, it's okay. We'll do it now. Here, sit, we'll talk now, I suppose. And then in the second rain, I used it another time, but then my attendant didn't see at all. So I was stuck going, yep.
Right.
I apologize because I know that was me.
They probably just think that I have like a weird nervous tick, but it's
All right, according to time, we have about 20 seconds left and I've still got 9 questions. Are we right to keep going or do we need to stop or?
Just ask the most inappropriate one.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Hang on a second.
I might run.
You're like, let me think about that.
Why did I say that? Oh my God.
You know he's going to leave us hanging.
Yeah.
Did anyone send Agro the chocolate log recipe?
Not yet.
I do have that question. I do have the question that is written here. Can you please send me the recipe for the chocolate log? It looks great.
Yeah, that was from Agro.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Agro, it's chocolate in log form. Just, come on, it's not that hard. All right. You want the most inappropriate question?
No, I don't know what you mean.
Okay. I've got a good one, and then we're going to finish up with a very quick, direct one if we're out of time. The most inappropriate question is name your favorite student or drink. You don't have to say
One or
why.
the other.
Just name your favorite students. What students? I'm just going to drink now. Eva? Beatrice is already drinking, yeah.
Bottoms up.
Lil? Didn't say why. I just said name your favorite student or drink.
I can actually say
There you go.
I only have one student.
Oh, that's a cop-out.
I know,
Yep,
right?
All right, then for you specifically, whether they're a student to someone else, any student in the kingdom, you can have them as yours right now. Who do you choose or drink?
I feel like this is like a who's your favorite member of the populace and why is it Vandal?
It's not going to be me. Altani, do you have an answer or are you going to drink?
Look, I can't say who's my favorite student is. I'm not that type of peer.
You know
Amen,
you've got that kind of
sister.
relationship with people.
Yeah, in my case, it's mother. Unfortunately, well, pity for them anyway. Yeah, no.
All right. Well, are we officially out of time? Do we have to cut this off?
When you're ready.
Oh, well, I can keep going. I've got one question that's very direct and it should probably be the final question. So do I ask that
Okay,
now?
let's do that.
Okay. It's directed at Duchess Eva.
Yes.
At the last crown when you became queen or became crown princess, there was a question asked by your consort. Any update on that question?
Yeah, I mean, COVID's kind of said that. I said yes at the time. It just took me like 5 minutes of going,
Do we have
Are
a
you
date?
serious?
Do we have a
Yeah.
theme?
Nope. It'll be like a normie McNorm wedding because, you know, we dress up in weird clothes all the time. So it's a good excuse to just be normal.
So
But yeah, we
Ron,
needed to
Question
when we
there?
travel.
Be normal?
Ron asked me in the Tabernet Festival when we were
Aw.
while we were watching like the like a tournament. He's going, "Do you want to marry me?" And I went, "Don't be stupid."
And he was like, oh.
That's a
Then
good
went, "Are you being serious?" And he went, "Now you'll never fucking know."
And that's when you
3
knew he
months
was
for
for
me to
you.
get him to ask me again.
I have to. I'm now really curious. Altani, what was the question popped, and where was it?
We were living in Petersham. He popped it on the 29th of February. I basically went, "Are you joking?" Well, and then he rang my father. And I think my father was just gobsmacked. He was sort of went, you're serious, aren't you? And of course, I think the 29th of February is when the woman traditionally asks the man, at least in the old school of thought.
So nothing really changed then.
We love you, Vandal.
essentially, you know, we really have to wait for a time when COVID isn't a thing because we have so many people that we'd like to invite to the wedding for travel. For example, my knight is going to be my man of honor, so I need to have Americans here. But
the term I heard was bromade.
that's a good one. I'm going to use that. Thank you.
I like bromade.
Right, mate.
Oh dear. I think we're gonna call it.
All right. Well, then in very, very final last minute thing, I've had a great time doing this. I've enjoyed asking you questions. I was tempted to, if any of you have seen James Corden do Spill Your Guts or Fill Your Guts, I was tempted to push it that way, but with shots instead of random horrible food. If there's ever another Boar's Head, anyone volunteer to play Spill Your Guts or Fill Your Guts with me in Boar's Head Theatre?
I'll do it.
Sure.
You're on, baby.
Sure, if I can get there, I'll do it. I have no idea what it means, but yeah, I'm game.
All right, then
You might regret that, Catalina.
No, it'll be great.
Probably,
Three of us
but
can
you
play
know.
it.
You
so
only live
much
once.
for your time. You've all been fantastic crowns.
Thank you so much, Vandal.
People, love you all. But at this point, whoever's controlling the buttons can probably go, everyone sign off, and the populace can giggle at this as much as they want.
Bye.
Thank you so much for everyone who has joined us today. We will be back next year. So we're looking at different times, and we will be in contact. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to our Facebook site, Crown Between Two Roses. And until then, have some safe holidays and joyous festive season. Bye.
Thank you, Beatrice and Lilia, for starting an amazing thing here. It's wonderful.
Thank you, everyone. Merry Christmas.